The Shock Valley in Afghanistan's Nuristan province is so impenetrable that during their nearly 10-year occupation of the country, the Soviets never entered it once. And for the first 7 years of Operation Enduring Freedom, no coalition troops did either. Until the morning of April 6, 2008, when a 12-man team of U.S. Special Forces Green Berets jumped from a helicopter into the Shock Valley, becoming the first members of a foreign military to step foot on the treacherous home turf of Hezbi Islami Gulbuddin, otherwise known as HIG, the notorious military group that had controlled the valley for decades. The firefight that erupted in Shock Valley that day is one of the most harrowing battles ever waged by American operators during the war in Afghanistan. By the time the dust settled, 4 of the 12 Special Forces soldiers were critically wounded and 10 had earned silver stars for their actions that left more than 150 insurgents dead in their wake. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I hope you enjoy it. If you guys could do me a quick favor and hit that like button, it helps me out a tremendous amount. I know everyone gets super sick of YouTubers begging for likes and all that, and I totally get it. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't necessary, guys, but I want to make sure as many people as possible get to hear these incredible stories. The entire point of this channel is to highlight the unbelievably heroic things and sacrifices that our brave men and women in uniform do for this country. And if no one is able to hear about these stories because YouTube is constantly shadow banning us and deleting videos and age restricting videos, then all of the effort I'm putting into making this content is for nothing. So do me a favor and help me out. Help me share these stories. Just hit that like button. I don't need you to do anything else. I couldn't care less if you subscribe. I couldn't care less about anything else. Just hit that like button to help more people get to see this video and push it higher up in the algorithm. But with that being said, guys, I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Thank you so much for watching the video. Let's continue on with it. Their mission was to capture or kill several high-ranking members of HIG, including the group's commander. But the militants were prepared for a big fight. In fact, it was later concluded that HIG had been stockpiling weapons and ammunition for a moment just like this since the Soviet-Afghan War. The Green Berets usually preferred to operate at night, but this particular mission began at daybreak. Unable to touch down on the mountain's jagged surface, the helicopter hovered about 10 feet above the ground while one by one the Green Berets leapt into an icy stream, joined by a small group of Afghan commandos. As the Americans took in their surroundings, they realized that the remote mountainside was alive with insurgent activity. And while the original plan was to fight their way down the mountain instead of up it, they also realized that the helicopter had dropped them off about 1,000 feet below a village fortified with a series of fighting positions, including mud compounds with portholes for snipers. The buildings in the village are built one on top of the other, on top of a slope thousands of feet in the air. So the Green Berets started their climb. The enemy insurgents, however, waited until the lead element was within a couple hundred meters of the compound before they initiated contact. The commandos were now completely surrounded. Bullets began whipping in from virtually every direction and with deadly accuracy. One immediately struck and killed the interpreter standing next to Walton. Another struck Staff Sergeant Dylan Bear, a communications sergeant, in the hip. Meanwhile, the lead assault force, which included Staff Sergeant David Sanders and about 10 other commandos, reached the village, where they too came under heavy fire. As reports of casualties came over the radio, Walton decided to call in close air support. He radioed to Sanders to ask him if he was too close, but Sanders simply responded, "Bring it anyway." Bombs then started exploding everywhere. Once the bombing run started to come to an end, Walton radioed Sanders again to ask if he was still alive, but all he could hear him saying was, "Hit them again." Over the course of the firefight, the Green Berets called in a total of 70 danger-close airstrikes. Several commandos were wounded by the shrapnels and debris that showered the mountainside with each explosion. but the insurgents were dug in so deeply that the airstrikes did little to stop the attack. Rocket-propelled grenades, small arms, and machine gun fire continued to rain down on the operators and their Afghan counterparts. The pilots circling above reported observing 200 armed insurgents closing in on their position. The commandos fought back with a barrage of rifle fire, rockets, and grenades, but continued to sustain casualties. One soldier's leg was nearly removed by a round that struck him just below the right knee. The soldier quickly grabbed his boot and put it up against his thigh, and then took his boot laces and tied his foot to his thigh so it wouldn't flop around. Another round glazed the helmet of the team's medic, and Master Sergeant Scott Ford, the team's sergeant, was shot twice, once through the shoulder and once in the chest. The round thankfully didn't penetrate his body armor though. With nowhere else for them to go, a triage area was quickly set up on the side of a cliff. Staff Sergeant Seth Howard was the team's weapons sergeant and a trained sniper. When the firefight began, he was further down the mountainside, and he and his element had to fight their way up. As Ford, who was bleeding profusely, began evacuating the most critically wounded soldiers, Howard took up position to cover their movement. By that point, the insurgents were so close the Americans could hear their voices, and the wounded had to be leapfrogged down the mountainside between airstrikes. Meanwhile, Howard stayed behind, picking off insurgents. Howard had less than a magazine of ammunition left when he joined his team en route to the stream, where the operation had begun 7 hours earlier. Many of the commandos had to jump off a 20-foot cliff on their way down. A medevac helicopter arrived but was only able to hover long enough to drop off a flight medic before being shot off the landing zone. On the second evacuation attempt, the bird landed in the middle of the stream, forcing the commandos to make a mad dash with the casualties through the icy water. With all the commandos now safely back on the helicopter, they made their way back to base. Miraculously, none of the Green Berets were killed during the mission. Later on in an interview, Walton said, "Our goal is to never get into a fight. We'd rather sit down and drink some chai. We were hoping this mission would be the same, but we got into a big fight, and some of us got hit while trying to save each other. That's what we do." Walton, along with 9 other Green Berets, were awarded the Silver Star, the military's 3rd highest award for valor. And as if all of that wasn't already crazy enough, the team's medic Ronald Schurer and Weapons Sergeant Matthew Williams were both awarded the Medal of Honor for their actions during the battle. 2 different Medal of Honors came out of this one operation, which is insane. And like I said earlier on in the video, by the end of the 7+ hour long battle, the 12 Green Berets had eliminated more than 150 enemy insurgents without losing 1 American. And with that, guys, that is going to be the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for checking it out. Make sure you guys hit that like button to show your support. Like I said earlier on in the video, we are basically just at war with YouTube 24/7, dude. Whether it's getting age restricted, or videos getting deleted or shadow banned or demonetized. And a lot of people get mad when I complain about videos getting demonetized, but you guys got to understand, it's not just about the ad revenue. Like, if a video got demonetized and all it affected was ad revenue, I just would leave the video up and not worry about it. It's not the end of the world. However, when a video gets demonetized, they also remove it from the recommended section, which dramatically decreases the reach of the video. And I put in a lot of effort into making these videos and telling these stories, and the whole point of telling these stories is to share the incredible heroic actions that our brave men and women in uniform make. But if no one hears the stories because it's not on the recommended section, then all that effort is for nothing. So it's this weird balancing act of trying to make sure videos are not getting demonetized, not getting age restricted, not getting shadow banned, not getting removed from the platform, but also making sure that I'm not downplaying what happened in the story. Like, if someone gets super badly wounded in combat, I don't want to downplay their injuries just for the sake of YouTube not demonetizing the video or YouTube not age restricting the video. So it's a weird balancing act, and it's whatever. But if you guys could hit that like button, it helps me out tremendously with making sure more people get to hear these stories. But anyway, guys, enough of me blabbering on. Thank you all so much for the support. You guys are the best community on YouTube. If you go look like at other people's YouTube channels, the comments are crazy. There's so many hate comments and so much just like super toxic stuff going on in the comment section, but you guys are so awesome. Our comment section is normally super chill, and I just really appreciate all you guys and all your support. This is an awesome community, and none of this would be possible without you guys, so thank you so much for your support. I hope you guys all have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video. Oh, and also happy Thanksgiving, guys. Thanksgiving is going to be the week that this video is going up. Not quite there yet at the time you're recording this, but it'll be going up pretty close to that. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving, and I will see you all in the next video.